one thing therefore which is very clear is that the cordoning off and the preservation of the crime scene takes place after the post-mortem report is conducted. This is what the GD entry itself says.
Is it a case of unnatural death or not? If it is not a case of unnatural death, why do you have to perform the post-mortem?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, a Supreme Court judge, Justice Pardiwala, in anger exclaimed that in 30 years of his legal journey, he's never seen such mishandling of a case. And I, in my 30 years of journalistic career, have never felt such anguish to see how dereliction, callousness, and perhaps cover-up derail the path to justice. It's been 13 days since a junior doctor was allegedly raped, brutalized, and smothered to death. As a woman, as a mother, Shakti is not just a statistic to me. She was a daughter, a sister, and a friend. But today, emotions aside, we must look at the facts on the Newshour. And here they are. The first police diary entry was made at 10:10 a.m. Yet the F.I.R. was filed 14 hours after the diary entry at 11:45 p.m. Next, if the daily diary entry was made at 10:10 a.m., why was the crime scene secured only at 7 p.m.? The third fact is that a case of unnatural death was filed at 11:30 p.m., yet the post-mortem was conducted at 6:10 p.m. Even before the death was ascertained as an unnatural death. Even the judge mentioned that post-mortems only happen after a death is listed as an unnatural death and not before. The next fact is that her body was cremated between 9 to 10 p.m., yet the F.I.R. was filed at 11:45 p.m., much after her cremation. Why wait till after cremation to file an F.I.R.? Remember, the Kolkata police probed the case for 5 days before the CBI took over the case. Today, the CBI has alleged that by then the crime scene had been altered, the F.I.R. was postponed, and the body hurriedly cremated even before the F.I.R. was filed. What will be the cost of this delay and dereliction and alteration of the crime scene on the probe itself? Will this derail the fight for justice? Watch this.
Mr. Sibal,
Yeah.
just tell us from your record at what time the post-mortem was performed.
6:10 to 7:10 p.m.
In the evening?
Yes,
Correct?
correct.
When you are taking the dead body
Yes.
for the purpose of performing post-mortem,
Yes.
is it a case of unnatural death or not? If it is not a case of unnatural death, why do you have to perform the post-mortem?
The CBI even leveled several serious charges against Mamata Banerjee's police and alleged that the scene of crime was altered and the probe agency suspected a cover-up. Amongst other botch-ups, today Bengal government fielded 21 lawyers to defend its case, while there were only 5 lawyers, including the Solicitor General, fighting for justice of the victim. Listen in to the altercation between Solicitor General Tushar Mehta and Kapil Sibal, representing the Bengal government in the courtroom.
Muddy the waters. It's all muddy the waters. That's what you're doing.
So this is not general diary entry.
What is that?
What is?
That is what DD is. That's
Not
what
somebody has lost their
That's
life.
according to the
Don't
rules.
at least laugh.
One second. According
at
to the
least
rules
laugh.
that we follow,
A girl has
these
lost
regulations
her
we've
life
done in accordance.
in a most inhuman
That's
and
not-
undignified manner.
These are the rules, and we have followed to the T the rules
Yes,
of the,
I will show that what rules are.
unnatural death end.
The top court has now allowed peaceful protests and ordered that the state of West Bengal should take back all its charges and no coercive action should be taken against protesting doctors. The Supreme Court even urged the protesting doctors now to resume their duties and get back to work for other other patients that were waiting for their attention. Now, what seems to be a balancing act by the Trinamool Congress, Bengal government has penned a letter to the Prime Minister demanding stringent action for any rapist and murdered within 15 days from the date of crime. On the other hand, sources are telling Times Now that Sandeep Ghosh, who is in the line of fire, has been given the OSD status by the state government attached to the health ministry. Not an officer waiting in compulsory wait, not an officer on standby, not an officer who's been suspended, but an officer on special duty. The Trinamool Congress claims that the CBI is building its case by picking information from social media, and that if the agency is so sure of Sandeep Ghosh's involvement, then why isn't it arresting the said ex-principal of Arjikar Hospital? Listen in to the war of words.
Setting up of fast-track special courts for speedy trial in such cases should also be considered in the proposed legislation. To ensure quick justice, trial in such cases should preferably be completed within 15 days.
सवाल मीडिया में जो सोशल मीडिया में जो घूम रहा है वो बेसलेस पॉइंट्स लेकर सीबीआई के तरफ से आज सवाल हो जा रहा था। सीबीआई ने अभी एक भी अरेस्ट सीबीआई ने नहीं किया। वो सिर्फ कंफ्यूज कर रहा है, टाइम किलिंग कर रहा है और कोर्ट में जाकर वो कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट कर रहा है।
Doctors cannot, blackmail the common people. Their solemn duty is to give medical service to the poor and common people. Do you have any right to deny medical services?
The BJP, on the other hand, says Mamata Banerjee has no moral right to govern Bengal and must resign at the earliest.
पश्चिम बंगाल मुख्यमंत्री की पदत्याग चाहिए, बस यही पहला यही आखिरी। पश्चिम बंगाल मुख्यमंत्री घृण्य जघन्य अपराध को छुपाने का पूरा टीम बनाती है, उनके पदत्याग चाहिए।
जो न्यायाधीश है सुप्रीम कोर्ट को, उन्होंने भी बोला कि मेरे 30 साल की सर्विस में देखा नहीं सुना नहीं है। अब समझ सकते हैं किस प्रकार घटना हो रहा है। यहाँ सब जगह दिमाग लग गया है और उसका ऊपर बैठे हुए ममता बनर्जी, उनको बदलना पड़ेगा।
The story in Kolkata is not just tragic, it is horrific. It shakes the conscience of any human being. Behind anything that is attacking or outraging the modesty of a lady, you have to take action.
So the legitimate question we're asking on the Newshour tonight: have lapses derailed Nyay for Beti? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining me on the debate tonight, Shazia Ilmi, national spokesperson of the BJP, Advaita Kala, author, Kasturi Shankar, actor. Also joining me tonight, Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate in the Supreme Court, Rajputra Chanda, political analyst, Mohammad Ehtashamul Haq, leader of the Trinamool Congress, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, supports the Congress party, also joining the show. And my first question goes to Shazia Ilmi. Sandeep Ghosh has been named by the BJP as the man perpetrating irregularities in the hospital. The Trinamool Congress now comes out and says that if you're so sure, why is the CBI not putting him under arrest? The Trinamool Congress government appoints him as an OSD in the health ministry, attached to the health ministry. Just what's going on? Is it going to be all along a blame game between Kolkata police, West Bengal government versus the centre? Or is the Beti of Bengal going to get any justice?
It is the Beti of Kolkata and West Bengal against a very criminal, ethically compromised administration. Whether you blame it on the medical administration or the police administration, we must remember that it is Mamata Banerjee who is just not the chief minister, but also the health minister and the law minister. And Navika ji, when you call them lapses, I would like to differ. They were not lapses. They were deliberate attempts to cover up and destroy evidence to protect the rapists / murderers who were there. And not just that, the way the F.I.R. was done, the way the post-mortem was conducted, and the way the cremation took place, and the way and the manner in which the parents of the Dr. Bittiya were treated, it's all a matter of not just great shame, but it really leaves no one in any further doubt. Then obviously there is a lot that is being covered up. And not just that, the Supreme Court tore into the Kolkata police administration, hospital administration and the government and said in the last 3 decades, in 30 years, they have not seen this kind of negligence. You can call it negligence, you can call it criminality. But the fact of the matter is that here you have a psychopath because a psych evaluation has been done. And this man is a repeated offender. And the kind of reports that are coming out that he has unnatural tendencies and he has serious charges against him. And not just that, the former deputy superintendent Akhtar Ali, and I hope he's protected now, has put this on record almost a year back and has asked for action to be taken against the cesspool of corruption and nepotism and all criminality that is taking place in RJKR and at the watch of this very favorite person of Mamata Banerjee ji, who is the principal, who is not dismissed easily. There is a lot of pressure. He is then suspended for a bit and then transferred and given another place to conduct. And whereas there are charges of organ harvesting, of selling unclaimed bodies.
Well, there are charges, but the point here is, Shazia Ilmi, the CBI has taken over the case several days ago, 9 days ago. Where is the action? What is the action? Other than lamenting, other than saying that the Kolkata police had botched up the case, what are the findings is a pertinent question that is being asked. How far have we progressed in the investigation? That's the legitimate question to ask tonight.
I think that not just I, but everyone else expresses a sigh of relief that the Calcutta High Court mandated CBI to take over. And let me tell you, after 4 days of complete mayhem, where the mobs were allowed to enter and mess up the crime of scene, interfere with everything else, and also get some renovation done, which suddenly the administration remembered. And not just that, after deliberate effort to ensure that the crime scene is tampered with, that forensic team has not reached on time, have collected evidence, all pointed out in the Supreme Court, CBI comes into play. Do you remember Arushi case? What happened in the Arushi case? Because the Noida police had botched up the case
I don't want to go back. I want to go forward in this case. And Mohammad Ehtishamul Haq, सवाल ये है, 1 minute Shazia, सवाल ये है कि संदीप घोष को OSD आपने बना दिया, officer on special duty, the man who did not inform the police on time, the man who did not go and register an F.I.R. on time. There was a 14-hour delay. 14 घंटे बाद, cremation पहले, F.I.R. बाद में. उस संदीप घोष को officer on special duty. Is this how Mamata Banerjee's government is going to treat this case? और उसके बाद एक चिट्ठी लिख दीजिए प्रधानमंत्री को. ये चिट्ठी लिखकर बंगाल की सरकार और मुख्यमंत्री क्या दिखाना चाह रही हैं कि वो बहुत कंसर्न्ड है? अगर इतनी कंसर्न थी तो एक्शन कहां था पहले?
सबसे पहले नविका कुमार जी, सबसे पहले नमस्कार. यहाँ पर जितने पैनलिस्ट सभी को मैं नमस्कार करता हूँ. और आपका जो सवाल है, देखिए 9 अगस्त की घटना एक इतनी बड़ी दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना, मैं उसकी कड़ी निंदा मजम्मत करता हूँ. इसलिए कि जो ऐसा घटना जो घटी, ये समझ लीजिए कि बहुत दिनों के बाद में देश में इस तरह की घटना नहीं घटती है. तो इसमें समझ लीजिए कि हमारी प्रशासन, हमारी मुख्यमंत्री ममता बनर्जी ने भी बहुत जबरदस्त तरीके से कंडेम किया. और हमारे जो जो हमारे जो उनके माता पिता थे, डॉक्टर्स के माता पिता से उन्होंने बोला, आग्रह किया कि आपको जिस तरह का भी समझ लिए आश्वासन चाहिए, जिस तरह का भी चाहिए जांच, हम तात्पर्य हम खड़े हैं। और हमारी पुलिस
खड़े होने से क्या होता है हक साहब? इन्वेस्टिगेशन, क्राइम सीन को प्रिजर्व भी नहीं किया गया। लगभग 14 घंटे क्राइम सीन को प्रिजर्व नहीं किया गया। आप आश्वासन किसे दे रहे हैं? किसे दे रहे हैं?
सुनिए नाविका जी, मेरी बात सुन लीजिए। पहले मैं आपकी बात सुनी, मेरी उत्तर सुन लीजिए। हमारी मुख्यमंत्री ने साफ लफ्जों में ये बात कही, कड़ी निंदा की, और ऐसे मुजरिम को कड़ी से कड़ी सजाओ। और ये मामला समझ लिए कि 4 दिन के बाद में
हक साहब, ये सवाल है ही नहीं मेरा। मेरा सवाल है संदीप घोष, ऑफिसर ऑन स्पेशल ड्यूटी, ममता बनर्जी के हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट में कैसे बनाए गए? इसका जवाब दीजिए।
देखिए, तो संदीप घोष तो वहां पे उनके अंडर ही में था। हम ये बात जवाब दे रहे हैं, उनको तो वहां से निष्कासित किया गया। संदीप घोष को वहां से निष्कासित किया गया, और समझ लिए कि ये घटना के बाद में उनको तो वहां से ट्रांसफर कर दिया गया, दूसरे हॉस्पिटल में ट्रांसफर कर दिया गया, कड़ा एक्शन लिया गया। ये बात नहीं कि कड़ा एक्शन
लिया गया। लेट मी गेट इन अद्वैता कला। अद्वैता कला, who took the action? The High Court or the Bengal government? Number one. Number two, instead of sacking the person, instead of putting up inquiries against him when the complaints first started coming in, when was the action taken? The action was taken by the Kolkata High Court, and today he's been put back as OSD in the Health Ministry. Now, if this is not complicity, this is not protection of a man who should have been responsible for safety in the college, safety for doctors, at least calling up the family and informing them about the murder of their daughter, registering an F.I.R. He's now an officer on special duty.
And not to forget who the health minister is of the state. It's very much...
Well, the health minister, the home minister and the chief minister happen to be the same person, Miss Mamta Banerjee, and she took out a protest against Mamta Banerjee, the chief minister, and then she writes a letter against the rape in Bengal to the prime minister to ensure, a verdict in 15 days. Matter closed because moral pressure is now shifted to the center. Mamta Banerjee can walk home free.
And it's all about her political equity, her political reputation, and the army of lawyers in the Supreme Court today goes to show that this is just not restricted to bullying women online on Twitter, but also to presenting and representing the government of West Bengal. And little to nothing has been shown in terms of humanity, in terms of empathy from Mamta Banerjee when it comes to this particular crime. It has all been about her protecting her reputation, making her the victim of the entire situation and not the actual brutalized woman who's basically been destroyed. Not only her self-confidence, I mean, she's gone, but even other women who work in hospitals across the country are so shaken up. But it's all about Mamta Banerjee. And this lack of empathy is something that she has gotten away with for so long, be it Sandesh Khali, be it standing up for a guy like that Shah Jahan chap, be it calling out a minor and questioning her in terms of whether she was pregnant or having an affair. She has got away with all of it. The only difference this time around is the public has woken up and they've said no more. And the public, and especially doctors who are held in high esteem by the general public, are the targets of this sort of violence. And she is shaken up because the people are speaking out. And that is her problem. Otherwise, she has passed everything off as a political conspiracy to go after her. And that has been her playbook. She's not able to use that playbook now. Now she has to face the women of her state and really the women across the country who are standing up against her, the only female chief minister in this country. It's a shame.
Absolutely. And Sanjay Hegde, we've lamented for 2 weeks. We've lamented. But just look at the situation. Look at the telltale signs. You know law. I mean, you're a senior advocate. I don't know law, but I definitely know that when a murder takes place, the crime scene has to be protected. That's SOP number 1. The family is informed by the head of that institution, SOP number 2, if not number 1. An F.I.R. has to be registered, and the registration of the F.I.R. should be by the authorities where the crime took place, in this case a hospital, and the principal of the hospital. All of these things didn't quite happen. Cremation first, and then F.I.R. being registered. F.I.R. being registered after 14 hours, a 1-hour post-mortem, and hurried cremation. What does all of this point towards? And then the telltale list. As a common person, as a citizen, 21 lawyers on the side actually defending the government, and nobody to take up the victim's
Now, let
case.
me come to the defense of the 21 lawyers first. Okay. In the Supreme Court, each senior advocate sometimes has a battery of juniors assisting. And when it's an important matter, everybody likes to have their name on the appearance sheet. So effectively, it was Mr. Sibbal and the West Bengal advocate on record, and their juniors, all of them were counted. So
21.
So don't go by numbers, go by quality.
Why should I not go by numbers? I'm a common man. I'm a citizen. I'm looking at the numbers. There are 5 fighting for the victim and the family, and there are 21 on the other side. Why should I not look at the numbers?
Okay. Now, then let me give you another number. You have 3 judges who are there for the nation. Don't worry about that. And may they be 21 lawyers, or may they be 100 lawyers. So let's get the lawyers out of the thing. Here, I was appearing also in the matter for a lawyer who had filed a public interest litigation in the interests of the doctors. And it was at my intervention yesterday that an order protecting some of the doctors came about, which has been reiterated today. So I am not standing for the Mamata Banerjee government. However, as a watcher, and as an informed watcher, let me tell you what basically has happened. What has happened is that the Supreme Court got in primarily because everybody was agitated. The country needed a consoler in chief. The country needed somebody to say that, look, we have the backs of the doctors. We cannot have our health system collapse because doctors have gone on strike for a very legitimate reason. We cannot also have a situation where the administration goes after the striking doctors or anybody who speaks in their support. So to a certain extent, the Supreme Court has done a bit of a surgery where it has tried to suture some of the gaping wounds. It is also committed to an independent and full investigation followed by the due process of law. We are a country of laws. We are a country by the rule of law and a constitution. There is a procedure. So going by the hearings over the last 2 days, what has happened is that there have been so many things which have been said on media, which have been said on social media, and what has happened is a forensic audit of all the documents. Okay, when did you launch the FIR? When did you get the first information? So the FIR, the official FIR, undoubtedly was finally lodged at 11:45 in the evening, in the night. But why did it happen? It happened because there was the information which was put in the general diary of the police station. The police then went with the case diary, went to the scene of the crime. They started their investigations. They talked to the parents, and the inquest happened. The post-mortem happened. After all that, the body was released to the parents who went to cremate it, and then the policeman comes back and files the full FIR. This is the sequence of events which seems to have been communicated to the court through the documents being forensically examined one after the other by three of the most eminent judges of the Supreme Court. So we must trust the system. The Supreme Court is neither for one party or against another party.
But I'm not asking the questions about the Supreme Court. You've gone into a lengthy discussion protecting the Supreme Court. Can you give me an answer that the post-mortem report says that the death or the murder would have taken place between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. and at 11:45 that night, the F.I.R. is registered. Today,
yes,
no questions, Sanjay Hegde, about this lapse. There is no question from you that is coming for the lapses in the preservation of the crime scene. Suddenly today, you are only talking about the Supreme Court. I'm not talking about the Supreme Court, sir. I'm talking about a victim who has been brutally raped and murdered.
Yes.
What about justice for her? Has the tampering of the crime scene made it impossible for her to get justice?
That was a horrible incident, and whoever is the perpetrator deserves the worst punishment.
Will we find out who the perpetrator is? That is my bigger worry right now. And Kasturi Shankar, that's the question that we need to ask. I mean, the Supreme Court is hearing the matter, yes. Is it the consoler-in-chief or not? That's not my view. That's Sanjay Hegde's view. They've looked at the doctor's issue. Very good. Nobody's talking about the victim and the victim's family. Doctors have been taken care of. The Kolkata Sarkar and the police have given their version. Everybody's giving. Are we sitting here to look at versions, or are we sitting here to get justice for the victim of the most brutal rape and murder and the alteration of the crime scene and a massive cover-up, because you can't call it anything else. It is a massive criminal cover-up that was going on. Nobody's talking about the cover-up.
Navika ji, you literally nailed it. You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, I have the misfortune of having heard Mr. Sanjay Hegde before you asked me, and to hear him try to buttress up the biggest cover-up job in recent memory was disgusting, to say the least. I mean, he is sitting here labeling the Supreme Court, which was the one responsible body that took suo motu cognizance of it. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have any movement in the case at all. I don't think anything would have happened. None of the relevant questions would have even been raised officially. We were all talking about it. The people were asking, the vox populi was loud and clear, but nobody was even, people were pretending to be deaf. And when I say people, I'm talking about the authorities, the administration, starting from the top, starting from Miss Mamta Banerjee, who happens to be the only female chief minister of this country right now. And I have no words to explain the apathy that was just paraded around in the last 1 week. I'm sorry, there was just so much information that we were getting from the victims, from the colleagues, from the friends of the victim, the medical student who was murdered and raped. Also, Navika, you said this is the most brutal rape and murder. No. This, in my opinion, as what people think right now, the popular opinion is that this was not a rape and murder. This was a murder and rape. Because the rape was also part of a well premeditated scheme to divert attention from the motive for the murder. The rape was, everybody is talking about it, I think I can say it. I believe too that the rape was in the aftermath of a brutal murder in order to make it seem like a crime of passion, like a crime of sexual violence, instead of a premeditated murder in order to silence the voice of a whistleblower, to silence the voice of the conscience of West Bengal, the conscience of an ethical person, the daughter of Bengal, the daughter of a humble family, the daughter of a father who now says, I will continue to tailor for a living because I have so many daughters who have stood by me. it is a premeditated effort to silence the voice of somebody who dared to go against
and
the medical
Kasturi
mafia
Shankar, may I also add, this is also the rape of the system. This is also the murder of the system that actually should have stood there to protect the common citizen. And Tehseen Poonawala. My question, 1 minute, Kasturi Shankar. Tehseen Poonawala, the question I want to ask, the question that Sanjay Hegde papered over. Of course, we all have faith in the Supreme Court. I don't need any homilies from anybody to tell me that the Supreme Court is looking into the matter and it's protected the doctors very well. But here we are asking what happened to the victim? Why did the system behave in the manner that it did? Why is Mamata Banerjee protesting against Mamata Banerjee only to get some brownie emotional points because she's the only woman chief minister, Tehseen Poonawala? Why are all of these steps that in common perception are showing that the system actually just died there? The system died there. It raped us, the citizens. It raped and murdered all of us as citizens because it deliberately manipulated the crime scene. Cremation takes place within minutes of the post-mortem being completed, and the F.I.R. is lodged after that, and we are made to go in circles. GD, DD. Arey bhai, what is this general diary, daily diary, whether it went in this diary? That's not my problem as a citizen. Whichever diary it went into, the F.I.R. was registered at 11:45 p.m. The murder probably took place several hours before that, 18 hours before that, around 6 a.m., at the latest. Tehseen Poonawala, what are we doing? Will we ever find the perpetrator? And then Sandeep Ghosh, the principal under whose nose all this happened, he's the OSD? Wow.
Navika, how can anyone disagree with what you've said? And you have such strong women on this panel. I heard Adwaita, and these are questions that have to be raised, and grateful that you're raising these questions. Mamata Banerjee completely failed. I'm anti-BJP, but how can I come on your channel and say, no, she did the right job? She completely failed. The administration failed. Everything of that is right. You cannot stand up and defend it. General diary, DD, FIR 18 hours later. Fact is, the Supreme Court judgment is that once a case takes place, FIR has to be registered immediately. Yet, it is time after time, not just in this case, we are being raped in this country every single day. There are 35,000 rape cases annually in Navika in India, across India. You know what's the conviction rate? Less than 25%. You know how many make the charge sheet? 2% a year, Navika, 2%. Isn't it time for police and judicial reforms across India? I can sit here, blame the BJP will blame the Congress will blame TMC. How long will women continue to suffer? The question is, when will we have a national consensus? Sanjay is right. Why did the Supreme Court have to take in? Why can't? Is policy making the Supreme Court's job? It has to step in because there's a lacuna. And Navika, night after night, you give me the opportunity to come on your show. And I've been asking for 9 nights, and you've been supporting me. And I'm going to ask this question again. 9 nights after this brutal rape, why can't the government, the union government with the opposition, call a meeting of all chief ministers, sit down and get a solution for women? If call a special session of parliament and say we need to pass like, why are we going to do that? Now you will come out and
it's very royal of you to say so, Tehseen Poonawala. Do you think we have a situation in our politics where we will get together on anything? State,
yes,
1 minute, law and order, state subject. If anybody says anything, you know the language that is used in West Bengal against the central government. The fact that the central government is the central government because of a democratic process is not appreciated. In fact, states have gone out of their way, and I'm not giving a clean chit to the BJP either. 1 minute, Tehseen, 1 minute. The state governments have said we will not allow CBI to enter. We will not allow CBI to enter our state. The center has overused the CBI in its cases. That's another story. So expecting anybody to sit with anybody anybody. I don't think it's happening anytime in the future in my lifetime. I don't know. Maybe my children, my grandchildren will see it. But Rajputra Chanda, the question here is, who is Mamata Banerjee trying to impress with this letter? This letter to the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister wanted to do something in Bengal, will she allow him to do?
I think, ma'am, she's trying to connect with her conscience. But let me be factually correct about certain things. Like whether the modus operandi followed by the Kolkata police was lawfully right or not, the apex court will decide. And since the CBI is investigating this whole incident, the CBI will decide whether an act of favoritism.
Well, I don't think you heard Justice Pardiwala, who today said that he has never seen a case in 30 years where an FIR is registered 14 hours after it is declared an unnatural death.
For the final charges, we will have to wait for the final charges, which is to be made by the CBI and the apex court, right? And we have to wait for the apex court to confirm.
Yes, of course we will wait. Nirbhaya waited in a fast-track court case situation. And Sanjay Hegde, that is my question to you. When the Nirbhaya case took place, at that time, fast-track courts, Justice J.S. Verma, new laws, everything happened. Yet, 8 years is what it took for the final verdict. And there are some parts of that case that are still going on in some courts.
Yes.
I want to ask you, Sanjay Hegde, in this case, how long do you think we will have to wait, given the fact that the crime scene is so botched up, we might never be able to pin it on any perpetrator?
See, I was a amicus curiae to the Supreme Court in Nirbhaya's case. So I do know what happened there. That was fast-tracked. It had special public prosecutors appointed and everything. I do believe that even in this case, a similar situation will arise as and when the CBI, after an investigation, files a charge sheet and the matter is brought to trial. Speeding up the judicial process is up to the government, whoever is the prosecuting agency. I would not hazard a guess on the length of time before an actual execution takes place if there is a finding of guilty and a sentence of death. So we are jumping the gun. I know that the rule of law seems very tedious, and it is something where people would much rather hang people on the nearest lamppost and say, yes, we have achieved justice. That is not justice. That is not who we are as a country. We are a country wedded to the rule of law, and we are a country which gave even Ajmal Kasab a full trial. So please, yes, this is a horrific rape. Everybody is entitled to feel it personally. Shazia, just 1 minute. I'm not saying anything against your party. I'm not saying anything against your party. I am saying as a country.
What about, Sanjay Hegde, this is not about a party. You are saying we are jumping the gun. I'm only leaving our viewers with one question. Are we jumping the gun on the most important question tonight? Will the Beti of Bengal get justice? Because right now, it's GD versus DD, General Diary versus Daily Diary, UD versus FIR. It is unnatural death versus FIR, 14 hours versus 12 hours. That is the kind of debate this has come out to be. And the list of 21 lawyers on the side defending the Bengal government, well, noted names, fighting for human rights. The irony of it all just strikes me in the heart. Human rights lawyers defending a government which failed the Beti of Bengal. That is the story of this particular case and this particular country. Can we sleep tonight knowing this is the manner in which governments and systems fail us? We are women. Tomorrow it could be somebody else's daughter. Tomorrow it could be somebody else's son. Is this what we pay our taxes for? Is this why we call this a country that runs by the rule of law? Think about it. Think about it, because yes, the Supreme Court has intervened, but has it satisfied the conscience of the country? Can it satisfy the conscience of this country? That's another debate. We leave it at that. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.